guys, so a while back I did this meditation video on my YouTube and on my TikTok, which is kind of like why meditate, but it's kind of that beat you over the head with the ruler kind of approach of like you should be meditating, which is, I know that anyone who's not meditating, it's exactly because of that guy that they're not meditating. I mean, ever since I've been doing all this like diet change stuff and biohacking, breath work and all this stuff, and I'm trying to talk to people out at a pub or wherever about this stuff, they just look at me like, oh yeah, he's one of those guys, because he's one of those guys who just talks about well-being stuff, and I know what I sound like, because I know what I would have sounded like to myself 10 years ago, where I had my own opinion on my health, I worked out, I had my own opinion on my diet, and I ate healthy according to me and what I knew, and I'll just be like, okay, yeah, you know, you do all these things, good for you. I have what works for me, and I'm happy. And so I thought I would take a different approach today, and because I was thinking about it recently, and I kind of, guys, even my own success at becoming good at meditating, it happened by accident. So I started meditating because I was depressed. Like, suicidal ideation a bit too often, a lot of pain every day, had to listen to like ambient music if I wanted music, because anything like Taylor Swift level of relationship conflict was too triggering for me, which, guys, I felt like a bitch. I felt like a bitch. I was watching Adventure Time. That was the only leisure computer time or TV show watching that I was doing, because that was non-threatening enough for me to watch. It was a cartoon. It was, you know, I mean, it's trippy as hell, it's esoteric as hell. You'll learn a lot from it. I think it's the future is looking bright if kids are watching stuff like that at a young age. But I was not in a good place. I'd come out of a relationship which I let break me as a person and as a man, and I was reeling from the pain, and I had to write my dissertation at the time at uni, so I had to keep my head above water because I had responsibilities I could not forego. And one of the things that I was doing is I had stopped drinking, I had stopped smoking weed, because if any of these things were going to put me into a depressive, like bad trip one day, I was scared. I just needed that little bit more of that little bit of an excuse to do something stupid and rash with my life, and I was not going to put myself under potential added strain. So I hadn't smoked in months, and you know, at the time I wasn't the biggest smoker. I mean, I started smoking weed at a young age. I grew up in the Caribbean, so I started smoking weed at the age of 14, and like my years of 14 to 16 was like, at least in the evenings, every day, a couple of joint or two with a friend. So I missed it, but I was not gonna. It's not that I didn't have the courage to see what would happen. I was too scared. I was too scared. So, and I think that helped lead me to meditation. So one day, my flatmate, his mom meditates because she's an arty type person and into that kind of stuff, and he's very performative. He's a very actor type guy, and so he likes to show that he does things sometimes, probably just like the meditation. Probably just like most people conceive, people who say they're good at meditation feel like they're showy and stuff. Oh, look at you, great, you're so novel, diminishing your ego, chasing enlightenment. If I have to listen to you for another minute, I'm gonna kill myself too, Healer Holly. So, like, instead of coming from that point all the time, I want to come from just, you know, how I accidentally got good at meditating. And he came to me, and one day I saw him meditating. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm meditating. Yeah, my mom does it. Sometimes it's good. It's going to help you for this performance or whatever he's going to do. I wanted to just kind of have, like, get in the zone and stuff. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But then one day he found this track on YouTube by one of my favorite bands, Tool, the metal band. If anybody's a fan, you know that you're not just a fan. If you're a fan, you're like a disciple, because they're just one of the most awesome metal bands out there. And he found this track on YouTube. It was Powerball, which is an opening to, it's like a two songs for one track, or two tracks for one song, Powerball and Parabola. And it was just the opening track, slowed down 800%. So it just kind of ended up being this kind of perfectly designed, slow, droning chant sound. And he said, "This is like you like Tool, Pierre. This is a great track to meditate to." So one day, out of desperation, because I knew meditation was good for you, I decided, okay, why not? I'll sit there cross-legged with my eyes closed, listening to the droning track. Was quite soothing. I'll do the rest. I'll cross my legs, sit down, and I'll close my eyes and I'll just listen to this for, I don't know, 5 minutes. 5 minutes became 10 minutes because, guys, it was such a retreat. Such a retreat from reality, which was at that point filled with so many things that made me feel like a bitch because they were too emotionally laden for me to, like, things that I could do normally would trigger me. So much things were triggering that at least the novelty of sitting here with myself thinking, listening to a droning track as a substitute for like being able to get stoned and numb myself, which is kind of what it was. At least I have the novelty of being able to say that I'm meditating on top of it all. I'm doing something novel and explorative and good for myself. And I was just desperate to feel better. So I did for like 10 minutes, and it was fun. It was fun amongst all the pain and depression to have that moment with myself where I'm just like being. And I just would sit there and think. I didn't know what I was meant to do. I had no more information. This was 9 years ago. I had no more information. My meditation wasn't as popular as it is today. And so I just sat there, cross-legged with my eyes closed, imitating the idea of meditating and just listening to this droning track and thinking. But surely but slowly, the changes started to happen. For example, I remember at some point wanting to invite more sounds in, so I took the headphones off, and it's like this makes me feel like in tune with myself enough, and it's a pain-free enough zone that I want to let in sounds from my environment in, or I just feel trapped by this song now. I want to meditate, but I don't always want to meditate this song, so I put it low in the background because it kind of takes me into the state, or like distracts me from myself as I'm thinking, because my thoughts could still be a bit anxiety creating. But I want to let in the surrounding sounds a bit. I want to feel part of everything else around me, just because I feel pain-free enough to do that. It was like a step towards novelty, towards normalcy again. And I also noticed that it helped me sleep. And guys, when you're depressed, your sleep goes out the window. But anyway, I'd been an insomniac for ages, and so this was like, wow, this helps me sleep if I do it. And I would do it 15 minutes in the night, because sometimes I just needed that to like think enough and then be tired. And then one day I learned through a Facebook post from a friend I made over this app called Ruzzle. Ruzzle was this like word swipe game. You had to score the amount of words you'd swipe on this like board of letters, and you played against people, against the clock, and you could message them. So I would trash talk people as I was ruzzling them because I felt that good at it. And I made contacts with this chick with a hot profile picture who lived in New York. I was living in London at the time. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. But all that ever came of it was this Facebook post that said, if you're meditating, all those people who think they're meditating because they're listening to some track and they're sitting there with their eyes closed and thinking, don't understand that the true meditation happens in the silences, in the spaces between thoughts. And I was like, whoa, she's talking about me. Oh, wow, I didn't even know that. Okay. Well, I'll think about that next time I'm meditating. And one day it occurred to me, it happened like in a 10-minute meditation where like for 2 seconds, I realized I wasn't thinking. And I was like, oh, I did it. And you can only realize in past tense that you did it. Like it had to be did, because as you're doing it, if you're realizing that you're doing it, then you're no longer doing it. So it was like, whoa, that's really trippy. Like, what is that? I don't even know. It's like a new thing. It is a thing to notice. Well, meditation is this weird thing where you are just sitting and you're not in your thoughts and you're sensing things, but you're not describing it enough to know that that's what you're doing. Like, I couldn't even try to make that happen again. You can't try. It just happens. It's like, maybe it'll happen again. So I would just do it again, knowing that's another thing that can happen as I'm meditating. And also because I wanted to show off to this bitch with this post who's talking about me doing meditation wrong because it happened once. I was like, oh, she makes it sound like she's mastered this or something. So I'm going to go 15 minutes for my meditation. I'm going to go 20 minutes. I'm going to listen to the whole parable, slow down track, and have the most moments in it that I can to find this moment of stillness and quiet with myself. And so it became this challenge to myself. But as a result, I was so guys, you can get good at meditating by being competitive with meditating. But you're competitive with this strange thing of like giving yourself time to be present. So guys, you can bring all that frustration that makes you think you're doing it wrong, you can bring it to meditating. That's how I did it. And the side effects happen, the good side effects happen anyway. More calmness with your thoughts, better sleep, better regenerating properties in the body, growing gray matter in the brain, good for your memory, consolidating your memory, vocabulary recall, all this stuff, it still happens. So, my advice is, guys, like, bring your frustration to meditation and do it for this guy who got good at meditation by accident so that he wouldn't kill himself, Learn from this fucking loser of losers that would be safe to learn from. And enjoy it. If you can. I mean, now 9 years later, like I had to go through getting too disciplined and strict, and all these well-being things become things you cling to because you need something to change in your life, and it's better than the other addictions you have, and you cling to them long enough to then come away from them and go, okay, I did that to the extreme. I became this weird person that was annoying to talk to, but I went through those 5 years of doing that, and now I can come back to like letting that go and knowing when it actually is a novelty to know that I can do it rather than I have to do it to feel good. And you realize it ends with this kind of new sense of joy with being yourself. But I think it's a conditioning like all